Okay, got ahead of myself a little bit here. Let's try this again. To make the American flag, what I did was I put a line at an angle. This is kind of at an angle here. See, I have the blue portion to the left over here, and just did the square first, and then from the bottom of the square, that would be the red. I would do that, and then I started doing my lines from there off, about a ½ inch apart, as you can see here. Now it's really critical when you go to paint this after, well, let me just say, once you get that on there, I'm going to spray it. Makes it a little easier to, this is rubbing alcohol, the 70% you can buy at Walmart, and little containers from Walmart. It does a nice fine mist, and it's 50-50, 50 water, 50 rubbing alcohol, 70%. Alright, so what I do is I usually take a V-tool to make these lines. It kind of makes it nice and even. You don't need to use a V-tool if you don't have one. You can just do a stop cut down the center and go on either side and sliver a piece off. That will do the same thing. And then when you go to paint it, when you get up here, I have a little piece right here to do, to follow that line out right there. Alright, and I do each line that way. I do the box, or the blue box, for the blue portion of the now if you want to define it a little bit better, and sometimes it's not a bad idea to do it, is take your knife and do that cut anyway, because what happens a lot of times when you go to paint it, it can bleed from one to the other. So if you do a little bit of this, like one, and then go up here and just kind of score it a little bit, just put a little line in there. You don't have to do it too deeply, and just follow this out a little bit to the front. That'll keep the paints from bleeding in from one to the other. It helps a little bit with that. You don't have to do this. I do it just to give it a little bit simpler. Now here it's a little bit different, so I'll just take my knife and try to make it the same size, you know, from one side to the other. And that's the challenge you have when you do it with a knife. Did I just cut that off? No, I didn't. Okay. So anyway, what you want to do is do each one, and I think I have this done. Okay, so when I go to paint it, I'll paint this one red, white, the head white. Oh, we're not done yet. I'm getting ahead of myself here. When we get the flag done, now we need to do the feathering. I use the V3 tool for that. I'm going to spray it really well. I'm going to sharpen it on my little sharpener from Harbor Freight and the wheels that I created. If you're interested in that, I have those in stock. I'll be right back. Okay. Sorry about that. I should have tightened that thing. I was checking out a few of my ones I made. Anyway, of the wheels. So what I do is I do a center line first on each one. I'm kind of going in. You notice I'm curvaturing it from one way or the other. It gives it a little bit more realistic look than just straight. All right. And then what I do, depending how the grain is running, I'll just go here and do a few at an angle that way and this way, all the way to the end of this. Okay, and I'll do the next one the same way. So when you're done, you should have these all done that way. Start from the center over, and they can be a little wider, it's okay. This one will go a little. If you can do a curvature on it, it looks a little nicer, but you don't have to. You can spend a lot of time doing one of these eagle heads if you want. I'm more into just getting. I love doing stuff that I can sit and do it in an evening, or put a couple hours into it. It had been a long time since I sat in my shop and worked on anything. I've done some Santas. I'm a little bit behind with some inventory for Christmas, but I'm working on it. I've got to do some more. I'm coming up with a couple of different ideas with Christmas too, so maybe next month or so I'll try to get those ideas out to you. But you want to be careful that when you do this, that you control your V tool, that you're not gouging into the flag as you do this, you know, that you can only go so far. And once you get this done, you can go all the way around. I'm almost to the other side. The other thing you want to do is you want to start doing the head where the eyes are and stuff, and do all this around it like I have here. So it looks like we're not going to finish that on this tape. I will be back to show you what that looks like and how you should, what directions it should be. Again, these little V3s, I do have them in stock. I believe they're $20 for one. They're handmade here in the US. So if you're interested in that, I also have the sets of what I use all the time. I decided to carry some of them because a lot of you have asked where to get these things, and I just want to be able to make sure you get the right stuff if you're looking for it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to the bill. Now this is just going to be random, back and forth, and you're going to crisscross a little bit. Again, you want to be careful not to jab it into his bill. I keep saying bill, I mean his beak. Okay? And then what you want to do here is the layout. I'll show you in the next video.